What is going on, guys? Alright, so this is the video you guys told me to check out. This is European football explained to clueless Americans. Yeah, that's me for sure. Okay, so before we get any further, just want to say a big thank you to everybody that has been running that video up. The first time I reacted to football, which is soccer, of course, here in America, that's what we call it. I call it football because you use your feet. It makes more sense to call it football than our American football. So anyway, thank you so much to all the new subscribers for coming in. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody that was here before that ran up that video, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, hyping. All of that goes a long way. Do that on this one too. I'm not going to talk for a long time. Just want you guys to know that means the world to me. That is the highest I've got on views. The highest. What am I trying to say? That is the best video I have done in quite a while as far as views, likes, subscribers, everything. Probably in about over a year, so to be honest with you. Yeah, so it's really going up. It's over 10,000 right now, so that's great. Keep running it up, please, guys. I appreciate it. So anyway, you guys told me to check this out. That's what I'm doing. Let's get into it. 3, 2, 1, play.
Okay. So I've been wanting to start following soccer for a while now, but as an American, I always found it complicated. Not like how they play. Most 3-year-olds can kind of understand more or less how it works. I just mean how everything kind of works in Europe. You know, I would follow the World Cup, and I'd root for the United States if they made it. And then I'd root for Iceland because clearly they've all...
So we do have a team. I wasn't even sure if we did or not.
When practicing that clapping, and they're really good at it. But that only happens once every 4 years.
Okay.
So I turn on my TV, and it would be like a random game, like Parma versus Bologna. And first I'd make sure that I wasn't watching the Food Network, but then I had no frame of reference for this game.
Facts, God. That sounds pretty good, though. Parmesan cheese and bologna? Yeah, you know that would be crazy. That would be good right now.
Like, are these teams good? You know, is this a big game? Which one of these guys is Pele? You know, I didn't know. And I had all these other questions, you know, why are teams getting kicked out of leagues? Why are they all rolling around on the ground so much? How are guys getting traded to different countries? And why does everybody in the stands have a scarf? So a few months ago, I tried to start figuring it all out.
Probably because it's cold, right? Or is it that, or that their team colors or something?
And I started watching some matches. That's the first thing. They aren't soccer games. They are football matches.
Okay.
And I bought FIFA for my Xbox, and I bought a scarf and a vuvuzela because that's like the rules or something. So anyway, this is all...
Ads of
Hey guys, do you like Disney Plus or TV shows like Stranger Things? How would you like to be on one? Be one of
the info that I wish I'd known a year ago. This is my crash course of translating soccer into American. I'm going to assume that you kind of know the rules. The biggest difference between American sports is how offsides works and the clock.
Okay.
Lots of people get upset about the clock. It goes up instead of down. Get over yourself. It doesn't really matter. Americans also get mad because...
You know, I noticed that in boxing sometimes. I don't know about now, but like I saw some old-time British fights back when I first got into boxing, which was, you know, a long time ago, and I saw some fights that were broadcasted on British TV and stuff, and that would start the rounds as 0, and it'd count up to 3 instead of like us where it counts down from 3 minutes. That was interesting. I wonder why that is. I don't know why it's different.
Clock doesn't stop, and games pretty much end whenever the ref feels like it.
Okay.
And you actually adjust this pretty quickly. The game's an hour and a half long. You'll have your chances to score, and if you can't score, then it's not the clock's fault. Some people, and when I say people, I'm referring both to discussions I've had with other Americans as well as like myself 6 years ago. So people think soccer is too slow. And when Americans look at a soccer field, something in our minds, we think that it's like playing hockey or playing basketball just on a big grass field. And in those sports, guys like go full tilt a lot, like most of the game. So when two players are just standing there passing the ball back and forth, we wonder, like, why aren't they trying to move forward? Just go. And on the other side, we expect the defenders to be attacking the guy with the ball rather than just standing 5 feet back and letting him do what he's doing.
Yeah, that's very similar to basketball, though, to be honest with you, especially in the early parts of the game. The defense is not intense at all. You get to the fourth quarter, of course, where the game's close and they ramp it up, obviously. But yeah, I just started watching a game, just a random game that I found on Peacock. There's tons of stuff to choose from. Guys, let me know what leagues I should be watching, where the best teams are, the best players are, because it seems like there's a lot. Maybe he'll get into that. I'm not sure. But I'm watching Spurs versus Everton. Why did I pick it? That's your answer. No reason. So I have no clue what I'm watching, what I'm doing. I've watched about 10 minutes of it so far. It's pretty action packed, to be honest with you. Not a lot of pauses or anything like that. So, but I did notice that they just kind of kick it back and forth a little bit. They try to advance a little bit here and there, but the defenders, I saw a lot of attacks, to be honest with you. I saw a good bit of attacking in that first 10 minutes, more so than you would see on the defense end for basketball that early in the game, for sure. So, but I did notice that, and it's very similar to basketball so far. So let's go.
The key difference is that football pitches are much larger than basketball courts and hockey rinks.
Yes.
And if you tried a full court press for the whole soccer game, you would be exhausted and you would probably lose.
Yeah, you're going to be
See, the pace of a soccer game is actually much closer to baseball. Most of the game is going to consist of guys just slowly passing the ball around, real peaceful, and then it's going to be all of a sudden followed by these short bursts of extremely fast action.
Explosive.
Basketball players, it's estimated, run an average of 2.5 miles during a game. Soccer players can run 7, if not 10 miles during one game.
That's what you guys were telling me. That's insane. That is insane. Wow. And Monopoly is 0. This fool was a joke. This fool was jokes. 0. You run 0 miles at Monopoly. Yeah, I would say so.
Where you only get 3 subs games, but most of these players will be playing the whole game.
That's ridiculous.
One thing Americans will appreciate is that other than halftime, there are no commercials. So it's like the anti-NFL, which is great.
Yes.
It also means that no matter where the ball is, both teams are always potentially about 30 seconds away from scoring, which creates this kind of constant tension.
Burst of energy.
It also creates a scenario where you can't ever really run to the bathroom or get a drink. Soccer players seem to have a reputation for being lazy in the U.S. because they don't always pop right back up after going to ground and get right back into play. Certainly some players do embellish things. And some
I got to say something on that. I'm sorry. American football fans have a problem with that when guys with no padding on take time to get up. When the people that they worship and idolize in American football in the NFL is the exact opposite of that. They have 50 pounds of padding on, helmets, protection everywhere, and they take time to get up, and they think that's tougher than the soccer players, than the European football. No. See, Americans are so conceited. Not me. I don't fall under that. So some Americans are just literally dumb when you think about it.
Go over the top, but I don't really think that on the whole it's quite the issue that people make it out to be. So they get made fun of in Europe too. So here's a fun experiment to try.
That's okay though. That's okay though that they get made fun of there, because they're used to the tough type of sport. They're not comparing it to the NFL football. They're comparing it to other people that might jump up faster in the same sport. That's different.
Go to like a local field and then quickly jog laps around that field for like 10 minutes.
No.
And then suddenly sprint down the middle of the field as fast as you can.
No, thank you.
And when you're halfway up the field, while you're still sprinting, have one of your friends just shove you over onto the ground.
Yeah.
And if you can pop right back up and keep sprinting, then you can keep complaining about those guys.
Facts. Yep.
A lot of the time, they're just taking a little rest. And everyone will either just keep playing around them, or both
milking
teams
it a little.
Be a little tired, so who cares? It's not a Matthew Riley novel out there. The other reason for guys slowly passing the ball around is that one of the strategies currently employed by most teams is to maintain possession as much as possible. Obviously, this is no different in American football or why Russia is really good at hockey. The other team can't score when you have the ball.
Yeah.
So teams will just pass the ball back and forth and even pass it back to their own goalie, because it's better to go backwards with the ball than to maybe make a risky pass and let the other team have the ball.
Okay.
We, the people of the ballpark, are all in
That wasn't too bad.
On occasion, you'll see a team make like 50 passes without the other team touching the ball, which can take a really long time, but then they'll go down and they'll score, and that's like as good as it gets. It's all about waiting for the precise moment for things to align and then all going together at the right moment. In terms of like positioning and formations, you'll usually have 3 or 4 numbers, like 4-4-2, or 4-3-3, or 4-2-3-1. These numbers will always add up to 10, and then the goalie is just assumed. Different positions include the center backs, who just stay as defenders, and then the full backs are both the left and the right back, who will defend, but then they'll also usually join the attack as well. And then we have midfielders, like a center midfielder, who can go both ways, a center attacking midfielder or a center defending midfielder. And then up front, we have like a left wing and a right wing, sometimes a center forward, and a striker up front, it's his job to just score goals.
There we go. All right.
One thing I'll mention that makes it easy to kind of get into soccer is that you can legally watch some old matches on YouTube. This is unlike American sports. Like, why isn't there a website that I can go to watch any game, like an iTunes for sports?
Facts.
It's like I can pay $2 to watch any game in history.
Okay.
Like
all right, so guys, let me know right now, what games do I need to watch? I got more than 100 years to catch up on. No, I know they don't have film from that long ago. But, I don't know how long the films go back. But what are some games I need to watch? Who are some players I need to watch that aren't playing now even? And of course, fill me in on what teams, what players are the best right now, who I need to be focusing on. Let me know.
All these games are on tape somewhere. They exist. Okay. But I can't watch a game in the 1986 World Series unless an international pandemic shuts down the world and there's no sports. And they just happen to put it on NBC or something. Like, come on.
Don't get me started on that year. Don't get me kicked off. Don't get me kicked off. Don't get me in trouble. And don't let it. I'm not even going to start before I start losing subscribers. So let's go.
So anyway. So keeping the ball and attacking is referred to as positive football. You're always trying to move forward. This is what most teams do. This is what people like to watch a little more. It's kind of exciting. It's more exciting to watch that way.
Right.
But of course, there's always a yin to the yang. So the yin is this guy named Jose Mourinho. And he basically says, I don't want the ball. I'm going to stand back with my players in front of my goal, and you're not going to score. And then every once in a while, when you're falling asleep and all your players are up in my zone, we're going to steal the ball and we're going to run down and score.
Explosive.
Which sounds a little bit risky, except that it actually does work if you do it well.
So he's the Chuck Daly of the, of soccer, of football, I guess. So yeah, like the 80s Pistons where they concentrated on defense, or the 2004 Pistons that beat the Lakers in 5 games in the finals. They were very defense oriented. Yep. So yeah, that's crazy. Defense wins championships.
He's considered one of the best managers there is, and he has the trophies to back it up. He's won plenty of big tournaments with teams that I'm told if you tried to have that team keep the ball the whole time, like most coaches would, they would have been destroyed. They were too old, and they just would have got worn out, wiped out. But by playing this negative defensive strategy, they were able to win. And despite this, teams that employ this strategy,
less energy a little bit, just stand at the goal and just make sure they don't, just have everybody there.
They seem to get a bad rap for playing negative as opposed to positive football.
I can see how that would be pretty boring, though, for people, for sure.
So obviously there's more thought that goes into it than I've described here. Diego Simeone and Atletico Madrid has been using this negative strategy for years, and they've been successful with it. On the flip side, the guys who've risen to the top playing possession football are also widely sought after. 2 of the most well-known coaches right now are Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola. And I highly recommend watching the series All or Nothing about Manchester City on Amazon Prime. It's about Guardiola's team a few years ago. And it's quite clear from interviews with these guys that they're quite thoughtful and well-traveled. I couldn't name a single baseball manager who can speak 3 languages. So speaking of Manchester City, they play in England. There are 4 main football countries in Europe. There's England, Spain, Germany, and Italy. England has the Premier League, Spain has La Liga, Germany has the Bundesliga, and Italy has Serie A. So to take one country, they're all the same, but
definitely heard of Premier League. That's where like Manchester United and Arsenal and all those teams play, I think.
Take one country, England. The Premier League consists of 20 teams. Every team plays every other team, once at home and once away. And these leagues don't have playoffs. You get 3 points for a win, 1 for a tie. The team with the most points.
Hold on. What? Tie? Oh, my. tie game. I am not a fan of that. Wow. If I watched a whole game and it ended up in a tie, that would be very disappointing to me. I'm not gonna lie at all. I don't like that at all. I don't think there should ever be a tie in sports. When I watch a fight and it's a draw, and most of the time it's a robbery because one guy clearly won. But even the few times that where like I could see it being a draw, it really is frustrating. I really don't like that. Get a winner and a loser. Give me a winner and a loser. I don't know how that all works out because I don't know, I guess they go into overtime, and at a certain point, if they just can't get a winner, they probably call it after a while. I'm not sure. You guys can let me know, but that is crazy work right there. A tie game. Ooh, I hope I never see a game like that, to be honest with you. Even though the game might be amazing all the way through, to end it on a tie. Ugh. Ooh, as a player, I wouldn't want that. As a player, I think I would rather lose, to be honest with you. Because that would just be so far. I'd be like, no, we could have got the win. This is BS. This is nonsense. Come on.
The end of the season win. And this can and has come down to the final day of the season before.
Wow.
In the U.S., our leagues pretty much have the same teams every year. So if you suck, and even if you start to lose on purpose, you actually get rewarded with the top draft pick the
Same
next
as
year.
NBA.
If you finish in last place in one of these leagues, they literally kick you out of the league.
That's what you guys
call
were
it
telling
relegation
me.
because that's a nicer sounding word. Before we keep going, here's a quick aside on the MLS. Major League Soccer.
I've heard of that.
Is the top league in the United States. It's different in many ways than the European leagues. There's no relegation, so the teams do.
That's here? Okay, I thought that was like everywhere. I thought that was like the worldwide soccer or something. That's in the U.S. Okay, so do we have some good teams? Maybe
stay the same from year to year, and there is a salary cap. Okay. Talent-wise, I guess globally speaking, it seems to be an okay league, but
so Major League Soccer is a pretty big deal, right?
On par with any of the European leagues.
Okay.
So under the Premier League, which is at the top, under them is a league called the English Football League Championship. The 3 teams who finish at the bottom of the Premier League are relegated to the Championship for the next season and replaced by 3 teams from the Championship. The bottom 3 teams in the Championship are
sounds like the NIT tournament in college basketball, kind of. The lesser tournament, right?
Relegated to League 1. The bottom 3 in League 1 are relegated to League 2, whose losers go to the National League, whose losers are
gone.
Nobody really cares about them except their moms at this part, but you get the idea. Unless you really get into soccer, you'll never hear about anything below the Premier League again. But just so you're aware of what's happening down there. This system does a few things. First off, just because you're near the bottom of the standings, your games can still be extremely important. They still count because you're not trying to win the league anymore, but now you're trying to literally stay in the league. And the higher the league you're in, the higher the check you get from TV contracts. So it's kind of a big deal. It also creates this kind of theoretical meritocracy where you could start a team with a bunch of guys anywhere in the country, get into a kind of a tiny league, and then ultimately work your way up to the Premier League. In reality, that'd be like trying to take a single-A baseball team and work your way up to the majors, while the other better teams with bigger pocketbooks are trying to buy all your best players the whole way. But for the teams at the top, just winning the Premier League sounds pretty easy. You're playing maybe 1 game a week. But
decide to lead. Enroll in ROTC to become an Army officer.
No thanks.
Depop has no selling fees.
That's the cap.
I ain't interested in joining a cult and going serving billionaires trying to, dig up tombs and, all kinds of evil stuff so they can get more power and so they can hurt and destroy more people, Yeah, I ain't interested in all of that. Let them pick up some weapons. Go over there if they want oil, if they want to dig up some ancient tombs to try to get more power because they're running from the Most High. Okay. Anyway, don't get me started. Let's go.
There's other things going on here. So there's also the Carabao Cup, which is a tournament open to the top 4 leagues in England, and then there's the FA Cup, which has been going on since like forever.
Never heard of.
That it's literally open to every team in England. So over 700 teams entered this one tournament last year. Imagine if every major and minor league baseball team had one giant tournament.
Okay.
So could any team win? Yes, they could. Will the small teams upset the bigger teams? At some point, maybe a few will.
Okay.
But is it likely that
1 in 16 in March Madness?
Non-Premier League team is going to win? No, probably not.
Okay.
So more fun to think about in theory than practically, I guess.
Not reality.
The final tournament is the big one. Like, what if we could find the best team in Europe? And I don't mean like each country gets a team. That's the European Championship that happens every 4 years. This, I'm talking about the league clubs. So the best teams from all over Europe, from 55 different countries, battle it out each year.
Wow.
This is the UEFA Champions League.
Okay.
So as a side note on these acronyms here, FIFA is the organization that runs like big international tournaments like the World Cup, and they help to coordinate things across different regions. If you're in
So, like, does everybody play against each other at some point? So, like, does Manchester United, are they ever going to play, like, against Ronaldo's team or Messi's team? Because they're not in the Premier League, right? So is there any chance of that ever happening? Is it all one big thing? Or is it just many, many different leagues? Like here in, America, it's the NBA. So, of course, we don't ever play against the team from Spain because they have their own league, I guess. Italy has their own league, and they just play with each other. So they have their championship. We have our championship, the NBA Finals. So is it like that? I'm assuming that's kind of how it is. Now, the World Cup, I know is coming up. You guys were telling me it comes up this week, so I'm definitely going to try to watch some stuff. So that's like the best players from each country coming together to play, right? So like Japan, America, I think I did see America on there, Italy, Germany, whatever. It's the best players, so kind of like the Olympics, is that right? So let me know.
American, you probably heard of FIFA because somebody on SportsCenter mentioned somebody that was involved with some kind of corruption investigation or something. Anyway, within FIFA, the world is divided into 6 different regions.
Okay.
UEFA is Europe. That's where like the best players go. CONCACAF, you may have heard of because that's what the U.S. is in, the Confederation of North, Central American, and Caribbean Association Football.
I have not heard
Short
of
and sweet. And then there's like the rest of the world. And each one of these groups has tournaments with national teams and their league clubs, like the CONCACAF Champions League and the UEFA Champions League.
That kind of
and these are called like the Champions League, but really it's just a tournament. So the UEFA Champions League is played in conjunction with the UEFA Europa League, which is kind of like the NCAA and NIT basketball tournaments, but with a bit of a twist. They play the qualifying rounds for the Champions League first. So if you get knocked out of the big boy tournament, but you finish high enough, you can just move down into the Europa League and try to win that.
Yeah, but
and I won't get into the qualifying, but typically you're going to have teams that you may have heard of as an American, like Manchester City, Liverpool, Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspur.
I've never heard of them.
Spain, it'd probably be Barcelona and Athletic.
Heard of Manchester United, Arsenal, and Liverpool. That's pretty much it. I mean, I'm sure I've heard of Manchester City too.
Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid. Serie A from Italy. We'll have Juventus and Inter and Roma and Atalanta. Germany is pretty much dominated by Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich. And then there's other popular teams like Paris Saint-Germain from France and Lyon from France and Ajax from the Netherlands. And then you throw in a few Russian teams and you're ready to party. So back to
I don't think I've ever heard of Russia being very good at soccer. I could be wrong, of course. I have no clue because I don't know. But let me know. I don't know about that. Yeah, because Russian, I don't know. Yeah, Russian athletes, though, they're tough. They're tough. I know they're tough. I don't know that they're so fast, though. See, that's the thing. They're very tough. I know that for sure. From boxing and, things like that. MMA, those guys they got tough chins, that's for sure. But I don't know, are they very athletic, though? Like, for soccer type stuff. Hey, I could be wrong completely. Let me know. Roast me in the comments. I'm just what I know, which is 0.
Premier League. You remember how your team's playing that
no disrespect
standard
at all.
38-game schedule. So now, also at the same time, you're competing in the Premier League, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and the Champions League. And there's like a bunch of other small one-off games happening too. So even if you have the best team, you're still probably not going to win all these tournaments just because of the wear and tear.
Yeah, too much.
If you can win 3 trophies in a year, that's like special. That's called a treble. If you win 4, that's called a quadruple, but that's pretty rare. And so the biggest payday is for...
So it has happened, though? Sounds like it has happened. It's rare, but yeah, he didn't say it's never happened.
Winning your league.
So who did
although
it?
I, for some reason, find the Champions League is hard to beat for excitement. So even though you can, soccer teams tend to trade players less than they do in the U.S.
Okay.
Rather, teams will just buy players from their current club. So a contract is going to include your salary, obviously, but also something called a release clause, which is a fee that would go to the current club for that player. So while any team could negotiate a transfer fee with a player's current club, a release clause takes that current team just out of negotiations altogether. So a baseball player, unhappy with the situation, he could demand a trade.
Okay.
And they might trade him and he'd be happy.
Right.
But if they refuse to trade him, then he's kind of stuck. Whereas a soccer player could just find another team willing to pay that release clause.
Okay.
And once a team agrees to pay the clause, then they can just negotiate directly with that player.
Nice. That gives the player kind of more leadway, more control, which is good, I think.
Obviously, the better player, the higher the fee is going to be,
Right.
so the current club can go out and find a reasonable replacement. Another big difference is that while most sports in the U.S. have a trade deadline, and that's followed by a few weeks afterward where players cannot move to another team, soccer's kind of the opposite. So most of the time, you cannot move to another team. There are 2 periods a year called transfer windows that you can move during. So usually before and then halfway through the season. And you can sign a new contract for another team whenever, but you can't actually.
So I see that the bottom 3 are pretty much the same time frame. How come we're so different? Are we that much worse?
Start playing for them
Is that
until
why?
that next transfer window.
I don't know.
And the last thing in terms of contracts is that in the U.S., most leagues have a draft, but soccer's pretty much like the Wild West. So teams will sign players, or I should say kids, like into their youth academy very young, like 10, 8 years old. And smaller teams who find a really good player could also include something called a sell-on clause when selling a player.
They start getting them from that age? No wonder they're so good. Good Lord. 8 to 10? What? That's crazy.
Player to a larger team that says if the team buying that player turns around and sells the player again to an even bigger club, then that original team will get a percentage of that secondary sale.
Wow.
Inside RX Bar.
More commercials.
What's inside matters.
Lord.
RX Bar. No BS.
That's about the 4th ad, I think. That's where I'm at.
All right, so if you're still here at this point, you probably want more. So what's next? There are like an unlimited number of top or best goal compilations on YouTube, which are kind of interesting.
You guys were telling me about that, to react to the best moments, I think, in soccer, football. You were telling me some highlights, like from Messi and, Ronaldo and all those guys. And guys, let me know the teams that are the best, the players that are the best, because those are the only 2 players I know by name, and Pele, and that's it, and he don't play no more, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, he can't, because that was like 20 years ago, right? So anyway.
Interesting in the sense that you can actually show, new people to soccer, the potential that the game has. Lots of Americans' exposure to soccer is like the Women's World Cup. And obviously we have a great team there, but you never really get to see what different strategies look like. Like, look up Barcelona tiki-taka videos. You won't regret that. They make grown men look like children. As I mentioned, the All or Nothing series on Man City is great if you have Amazon Prime. And obviously just watching games is good. FIFA TV has a YouTube channel that has lots of international matches. Or just look on YouTube for full football matches. You're smart, you'll find them. UEFA TV has old Champions League matches. I think you might have to register, but it's free. You probably want to follow BR's football channel on YouTube. They have a lot of good stuff, including this very funny series called The Champions, which I'd probably wait a little bit until you learn a little more about the top players before watching that. One place I always turn to when trying to learn a new sport is video games. So FIFA would probably help.
Yeah, that's true. That would make sense. I might need to get that.
The big caveat there is that it has horrible reviews. That said, if you're just trying to learn the rules, like basic tactics and which players are on which teams and who plays where, I would say it's been pretty helpful for me. Most of the negativity toward the game is for the online, the FIFA Ultimate Team mode, where you end up paying for players for your team. But if you just avoid that and then stick to playing against the AI, then you should be okay.
Okay.
The only thing I hesitate to do is play as Barcelona, because you could control Leo Messi, and who am I to tell God what to do? So I usually avoid that part. The alternative here, it would be a game.
So I wonder who his favorite player is.
Called Pez, which I've heard good things about, although it doesn't have licensing for many of the teams. So jerseys will look different and team names will be slightly off, which I guess might be confusing to someone new. And I think FIFA's player faces are a bit more recognizable too. News-wise, there's coverage like everywhere of soccer.
Yeah.
Although I do enjoy the site onefootball.com.
Okay. All right, so that's just some recommendations, and like I say, you guys can do that for me. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off there, I guess. This is probably a pretty long video. We're probably over 30 minutes with all me talking and everything. But anyway, all right, guys. So, yeah, I enjoyed that. I got a better explanation of the rules, understand it a little more now. If there's some more videos you guys want me to check out that are explaining stuff more to a complete newcomer who knows nothing like me, yeah, let me know for sure. Drop it in the comments. And like I say, I know you guys have wanted me to get to some highlights of certain players. I'll definitely do that. Keep dropping it in the comments, recommending. If you guys want to hear the absolute random story of how I came to, start to be interested in this sport, drop it in the comments. Let me know. I will do that on the next video that I react to, football-wise, football-related. I will definitely tell that story. It's nothing strange or crazy, really, or anything. It's just kind of funny. It's just very random, like how I came across all this stuff and why I wanted to start learning about this sport. So, anyway, just kind of funny. That'll also let me know that you are here. Tell the very end pretty much, so drop it in the comments that you want me to tell that story. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you so much for watching, definitely, if you made it this far. So appreciate all you guys. Stay safe, be careful. I am gone.